Empyreans are one of the most interesting concepts in Elden Ring, and it's a topic I've discussed before here on my channel. With the release of the Shadow of the Erdtree trailer and promos, we now know of two Empyreans who willingly chose to leave their physical forms, Ranni the Witch and Miquella the Unalloyed. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm a human Justicar, and today we're going to be diving once again into the topic of Empyreans, focusing on Miquella and theorizing the events that led up to him traveling to the Land of Shadow and abandoning his body. If you're interested in lore and theory videos on video games like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, consider subscribing to my channel. There are a lot of you who came over from Jack is a Mimic's channel, so welcome. We're almost to 5,000 subs, so I just wanted to thank you all so much for your support. As always, there will be spoilers in today's video, so please proceed at your own risk. The Land of Shadow, a place obscured by the Erdtree. It was to this land that Miquella departed, divesting himself of his flesh, his strength, his lineage, of all things golden. If you've not seen my first video on Empyreans, I'd highly recommend starting there. But to summarize the main takeaways from that video, I theorized that the Greater Will uses the Empyrean as a vessel. It is a way for the Greater Will to not only exert control over the lands between by creating a monarch that serves it, but also to garner faith from its people, spreading the doctrine and seeds of the Erdtree. An Empyrean, just like their shadows, are simply yet another instrument for the Greater Will to use. So why would Ranni and Miquella divest themselves of their bodies? Miquella, Ranni, and Melenia are the three main Empyreans in the current age of the lands between. Ranni is the one chosen by the Greater Will, but that doesn't mean that the other two don't still possess potential. It's important to remember what an Empyrean is, a vessel, used to contain something, the Elden Ring. So for two Empyreans to have both destroyed their physical bodies in the same age is very surprising. I wanted to add in really quick that although Melenia is not a confirmed Empyrean in the game's lore, she too also mentions being bodiless. So this is not an uncommon theme in Elden Ring. Ranni's intentions were to free herself from the control of the Greater Will, the Two Fingers, and the Elden Beast, stating, "I would not be controlled by that thing." Ranni wished to follow her own path, the dark path of the Empyrean, not the path chosen for her by her Two Fingers. Miquella's reasoning, however, is a mystery. Let's dissect this by first asking how he did it, and then exploring the why. Ranni used the stolen fragment of the Rune of Death to slay her own flesh, but her soul was preserved due to the slaying of Godwyn the Golden. Godwyn's soul was murdered while his body remained alive. This is what allowed Ranni to rid herself of her Empyrean flesh without actually dying, allowing her to remain in the lands between. This is why Godwyn could not die a true death. Additionally, this is also the reason why Fia seeks both the Harper-Barnes, half of which was on Godwyn and the other half on Ranni. When Godwyn died, a Harper-Barnes scored his flesh. But another exists, another mark in the shape of the half-wheel wound of the centipede. As far as we know, Miquella did not have the tools nor the planning to perform such an act, and there's no evidence suggesting otherwise. Ranni did, however, create a second weapon with the stolen fragment of the Rune of Death. She gave her brother, Praetor Rykard, the Blasphemous Claw, a slab of rock engraved with traces of the Rune of Death. But Ranni didn't give Rykard the claw so he could destroy himself. Instead it says, "On the night of the dire plot, Ranni rewarded Praetor Rykard with these traces. They would serve as a last resort foil allowing Rykard to challenge Malekith, the Black Blade. Essentially, this was her backup plan in case the plot and her treachery were discovered. It's not likely that the Blasphemous Claw was ever in Miquella's possession. So if not with a fragment of destined death, then how did Miquella divest himself of his flesh? Assuming that the process was different from the lengths Ranni went to during the Night of the Black Knives, it's possible that Miquella is stuck in the Land of Shadow, unable to return to the lands between. Let me explain. Miquella's last known act was embedding himself into the Halig tree. After that, the cocoon was cut out and stolen by Mohg. Sir Gideon Ofnir explains this. I heard speculation that Miquella embedded himself in the Halig tree, but before he could finish, someone cut the tree open and absconded with his infant form. Miquella's actions were an attempt to ascend to godhood, and the use of the term infant form suggests that he was at the beginning stages of that process. Is it possible that the meddling of Mohg not only interrupted Miquella's plan, but also caused his premature death? It's said that Mohg drenched Miquella's bedchambers with blood, and yet it seems as though Miquella had the life sucked out of him. Inside of the cocoon, his body resembles a skeleton, thin and drained of life, his skin devoid of all color. The trailer even states, "Come now, touch the withered arm, and travel to the realm of shadow. Those stripped of the grace of gold shall all meet death." And Miquella divested himself of all things golden. So what if Miquella is actually dead? The word departed is slightly ambiguous. And then there's Torrent, whom we are shown in the promo image with Miquella riding on his back. This suggests that Torrent also traveled to the land of shadow, but returned to the lands between as a spirit, which could confirm the idea that traveling to the land of shadow means one must perish first. But when Gideon Ofnir refers to Miquella inside of the cocoon, he says, if he continues his slumber within the cocoon, all will be well, but perhaps it would be safe to destroy it. This means Gideon believes Miquella is still alive, just merely sleeping. There is another theory floating around that this is all a part of the process, his ascension to godhood. Miquella's goal was to create the Halig tree and to cure his sister's wrought affliction by learning how to halt the interference of outer gods. Mohg stealing him away was initially thought to be an interruption to that process, but many have theorized that Miquella planned for this to happen. All along the branches of the Halig tree are oracles, playing their trumpets. The description of the oracle ashes says, "It is said that when oracle envoys appear, playing their pipes, they do so to herald the arrival of a new god, or age." And if you watch and listen closely, you'll notice that the music does in fact match up with them playing their trumpets. This suggests that Miquella's ascension may still usher in a new age. Why else would Miquella willingly leave his body after all this effort? In the poem it says, "The land of shadow, where the goddess Marika first set foot." Many in the community have interpreted this to mean one of two things. Either this is the land Queen Marika and the Newman are originally from, or this is where Queen Marika became a goddess. No one truly knows the details of how Queen Marika became a goddess, only that she was an Empyrean chosen by the Greater Will, and as such, became the carrier of the Elden Ring. It's possible that the Land of Shadow is an important step in this process. that it is only by going there that an Empyrean may finally ascend to godhood. Another question emerges. Did Miquella know this? The Haligtree soldier ashes are spirits of common soldiers who carry the sacred light. When weakened, they explode in a blast of golden light. May the flash of our deaths guide Miquella's return. I've always wondered why they chose this. Maybe it's because Miquella's followers knew, just like he did, that he'd be departing to the land of shadow, shrouded in darkness. That's why they carry the sacred light, in an attempt to guide Miquella back to the lands between. This could answer both the how and the why. In order to ascend to the godhood he so desperately sought after, Miquella had to leave everything behind, including his physical body, to enter the land of shadow, where Miquella awaits the return of his promised lord. This is the theory that I tend to agree with and believe makes the most sense. He may not have known that Mohg would kidnap him, but it seems likely that Miquella knew something more was going to have to happen for his ascension to be complete. But let me know what you think down below. Now let's talk about everything Miquella left behind, his lineage. As the son of King Consort Radagon and Queen Marika the Eternal, Miquella gave up his seat among the Golden Order long before the events of the game. Miquella sequestered himself and his followers far away in the very corner of the Forbidden Mountaintops. That is where he grew the Haligtree. We know that his twin sister Melenia followed him and was the main reason why he abandoned the Golden Order. But his other siblings also went in different directions, further fracturing Queen Marika's family. Melenia tells us when we first entered the Haligtree's roots, I dreamt for so long, corpse after corpse, left in my wake, as I awaited his return. This suggests that Miquella told Melenia of his impending departure, and her armor states, my brother will keep his promise. Curing her of the rotting sickness may be this promise, but it might have also been simpler than that, a promise to return to her. But in the end, Melenia was left alone. Miquella also abandoned all things golden. This is referring to unalloyed gold, the Golden Order, and even the grace of gold, or the blessing of the Erdtree. I have an entire video dedicated to the topic of the grace of gold, so if you're interested, I'd highly recommend checking out that one after this one. Miquella was once a Golden Order fundamentalist alongside his father Radagon, but ultimately gave it up, for it could do nothing to treat Melenia's accursed rot. This was the beginning of unalloyed gold. Unalloyed gold means pure gold. Miquella used this pure gold to treat Melenia's scarlet rot. The unalloyed gold needle is an intricately crafted needle made of unalloyed gold. It is thought capable of forestalling the incurable rotting sickness. And it indeed does forestall it, as we see in Millicent's questline. But it was not just the unalloyed gold that stopped the progression of the scarlet rot. It was also Miquella's holy abilities. The hand of Melenia is a blade built into Melenia's prosthetic arm. Through consecration, it is resistant to rot. Consecration refers to making or declaring something to be sacred. So essentially, through Miquella's holy skills, he was able to stave off Melenia's rot by blessing the unalloyed gold attached to her body. Not only that, but the unalloyed gold needle was crafted to ward away the meddling of outer gods, which is an impressive power that no other demigod seems to have. This brings us to the third thing Miquella left behind, his strength. Melenia's armor states, he possesses the wisdom, the allure of a god. He is the most fearsome Empyrean of all. We have yet to see his power, but we do know quite a bit about what Miquella was able to accomplish and how. While he was a Golden Order fundamentalist, he not only studied incantations, but created his own as well, Discus of Light and the Triple Rings of Light. This confirms that he was gifted in holy magic. Additionally, it seems he was also adept at blood magic. He was able to nurture and grow the Halig tree in an attempt to create a new Erd tree. Though watered with Miquella's own blood since it was a sapling, the Halig tree ultimately failed to grow into an Erd tree. I have an entire video explaining Miquella's use of blood magic, and if you're interested in that topic, make sure to check that one out as well. We also know that Miquella was able to gather followers with ease, as the bewitching branch states. The Empyrean Miquella is loved by many people. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection. The trailer states, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men. There is nothing more terrifying. This calls back to the bewitching branch's description as well as Melenia's armor. But Miquella divested himself of all his strength before departing to the realm of shadow, so he may be a shadow of his former self when we finally get a chance to stand before the mysterious Empyrean. What do you think about Miquella divesting himself of his flesh? Do you think he actually died? Or was this all a part of his plan? And is it possible that Ronnie and others knew? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like it. If you'd like to support my channel, you can subscribe, donate, or share this video. Let me know any topics you'd like to hear from me, and as always, I can't wait to talk to you all in the next one. Bye!